Now, here's the thing. There's been political cross-dressing going on in the West for quite some time. Donald Trump, for example, campaigned on the platform that he would withdraw America from needless foreign wars. He said that the sand, he thinks it's all sand, in the Arab world was the most expensive sand in history. There's been a kind of blurring of the lines between left and right for some time, but it has reached its sharpest point over this war in Ukraine. Virtually all of the important voices that have been raised against NATO have been from the right, whilst the so-called left, actually they're liberals, but they are extremely numerous and are in control of most of the media and much of the political class. Let's call them the Tony Blair school of small L liberalism, have been gung-ho for war. They have been the ones demanding a no-fly zone. How did that happen, Keith Bennett?
Well, good question. And I mean, I think it's particularly disgusting to see somebody like Keir Starmer, who's actually positioning himself to be more bellicose and more warlike than the Tory government. And we have a situation where, you know, just 11 Labour MPs were prepared to put their names to a Stop the War statement, a statement which incidentally began by denouncing the Russians for their actions in Ukraine.
And then they quickly removed their names.
You know,
But it's true in the US also, isn't it? Because this is another Democratic Party war.
Well, aren't they all?
Oh, the most egregious of them, yes.
I mean, Vietnam was a Democrat Party war. Korea was a Democrat Party war. But also in the left, in the, if I can call them that, the imperialist countries, are we still allowed to use terms like that?
On Kalimahora, it's free word. You can say anything you like.
But in the imperialist countries, this has a long history. I mean, just a few months before the outbreak of war in the summer of 1914, the outbreak of the First World War, the socialist parties from every country got together and agreed a common position that in the event of war breaking out, they would take their main enemy as being at home and they would fight against their own ruling class. When the war actually broke out, there was Lenin and the Bolshevik Party, and there was a handful of others, Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht in Germany, a prominent leader in Austria, I think it's Adler from memory, John McClane in our part of the world, James Connolly in our nearest neighbour, and that was about it. So these people were extremely isolated, but they were proved correct. And we saw it again, 10 years ago in the war on Libya. There were sections of the far left in Europe, some of them, I might say, who were pleased to take Gaddafi's money at times, were lining up for the NATO war that destroyed the most prosperous country in Africa and turned it from a developing country along broadly socialist lines into a country where black people are literally sold as slaves in markets. And the thing is, they don't learn, they just get worse and worse.